Hello, everyone, and welcome to another riveting edition of Under the Floorboards, where we laugh at the creatures that go bump in the night. I am your host, John, joined as always by my beautiful co-host, Eric. How are you this week?
Fabulous.
I know. I feel like I never ask you that.
You never do.
Well, when I care, I'll ask. In all seriousness, as serious as these episodes are going to be, we're doing so much. We're doing so
You
much.
may notice that I'm wearing the same shirt as last time. That's not because I only own one shirt.
Wait, what?
New levels, new devils, bitch. It's the same. It's this shirt.
Anthony DeBlasio validated that line, and he's just going to use it for the rest of his life. Every opportunity that hits.
It's an idiom, and it's a Polyphia album, so that's why we use
Polyphia.
Polyphia.
Got it. Is that like a Fiat?
No, it's more of a sexual desire.
Oh, so it's like a caravan,
yeah,
instead of a
more of a Subaru Outback.
Oh man, see, I'm one for the Honda Odyssey personally.
Oh, I understand.
That'll matter more later.
Odysseus does fuck. It will matter more later in the next episode. Goodbye.
But this week we went to the fucking stream premiere.
We went to the movies. Let's go to the mall.
So we had an absolute blast. I know I can speak for myself on this. I have been so fucking stoked for this movie since they announced it last year. Because there are so many fucking heavy hitters in this movie. You have Danielle Harris, Tony Todd, other people. I'm kidding. I would be remiss to not bring up people like Felissa Rose. There are Bill Moseley, you know, David Howard Thornton, Tim Reed, from Sister Sister.
Tim Curry.
Dave Sheridan, Tim Curry. Yeah, see, we just spoiled so much for you. I wish you probably should have read the thing a little bit closer.
It said
but
spoilers.
We're saying that now, and I'm gonna like forget to do it later.
What stream?
But welcome to some of our spoilers. We're gonna talk about some of our favorite shit in this movie. So like, if this is your last chance to jump ship, you should go to the theaters and watch it so that you can be along for the ride. You literally have the opportunity. Everybody's like, support indie, then fucking do it
until it's time to support it.
Yeah. Everybody want to fuck around. Nobody want to find out.
Right. Exactly.
Oh, and also like to mention to the fact that Damien Leone is doing the fucking special effects for this movie. Like, so you know the kills are gonna be sick.
They also cast a girl with brown eyes, brown hair, and a big smile, if you were curious.
they cast another Lauren Lavera.
They can't stop casting Lauren Lavera.
And of course, like, again, just Danielle Harris being the love of my life. I was very excited to see that she was gonna be a part of this.
Still in her prime.
She ain't got nothing but prime, baby.
Wagyu. Look at the marbling.
That's my girl, straight up. A5.
USDA certified lead.
Just to give a quick synopsis of it, is essentially a family is having trouble with their daughter because she is being a bitch all of the time. And she is stealing beer from grocery stores and hitting on dudes and like honestly like being a relatively normally well-adjusted child. The funniest part to me was like the parents are just like, I can't understand why she would be like this, and I'm like, I can't either, because you have like two parents that love you, and that's like so
right.
That's so crazy to me.
That a 16-year-old would prefer to go to concerts with hot boys and drink than be at home.
while her brother streams upstairs. And it was so funny too, because there's a scene with Holloway, and he plays the Clown Cafe kid in the serial scene in Terrifier 2. He's actually getting a lot of work now. Yeah, he was in Stalked, which is also coming out relatively soon with Scout Taylor Compton and Heather Langenkamp and a bunch of other people. So he's just like the child star right now. So it's really cool to see him, like, because he's really lanky. So I know he's going to be so tall, and he's probably going to shoot up so fast. He's like going to pull like a Finn Wolfhard on everybody. They're just going to be like, fuck, we got to play him as a 16-year-old now. And he's 11. Like,
Hollywood, baby.
Hollywood, baby. They decide that the best way to make this kid be a better kid is for everyone to take a weekend vacation together.
It's like rehab.
Yes.
We're going to go up the mountains and we're not coming out till we feel better.
And everyone's reaction is the same. There's no Wi-Fi here. Also, if I pay any amount of money to stay somewhere and there's no Wi-Fi, I'm getting a refund. Like,
unless that's the point, right? Unless the whole thing's like, it's like
camping, bitch.
Digital detox. Right.
Not like they're like a borderline resort. They're like, we have the honeymoon suite and the jacuzzi and all. What if I want to watch porn with my partner after the jacuzzi?
It's strictly limited to VHS tapes that you've ripped off of Skinemax.
Debbie Does Dallas, but like 6 editions of it in the honeymoon suite.
Pamela Anderson and Tommy Lee for 6 hours.
They're just sitting in the room like, I would love that reaction shot. Yeah. They're like laid up against the bed and they're just like, I just don't know how he drives the boat like that.
Right. Is that One Night in Paris on DVD? Nice. Yeah.
No, that's the Tommy Lee sex tape. Sorry, I watched that a couple times when I was young.
No, I mean, yeah, most of us did. Just out of sheer curiosity. This is before we knew what masturbation was.
Interestingly enough, that was one of 2 of the times that I saw Tommy Lee's dick.
Nice. Because you've seen Motley Crue live.
Yeah. Real shit. I saw his dick, Nikki Sixx's dick, and more boobs than a young boy can count.
Yeah. Hell yeah.
Which is crazy to me when you see like this person expose himself to a 15-year-old. That dude pulled his dick out at the concert. Like,
yeah.
There wasn't an age restriction.
Yeah. There's like a clause. Yeah.
So we have everyone coming up for the weekend, and essentially what is happening is the people that are in this hotel are all about to fall victim to this game that happens along the darknet, where people are placing bets on which killer. There are 4 players in this who was going to accrue the most amount of points. It is literally blood sport. So they are trying to figure out, or nobody knows. It's funny too, because like if I rolled up to a hotel and they were trying to make me pay in cash, I would stay somewhere else.
Cash only.
Like I pay for a lot of shit in cash at a restaurant, at a bar. Like,
not the place where you're going to have to lock your door 9 times at night.
So you're going to take a copy of my ID, but you can't run my card here. So it's all about these people that have fallen victim to this insidious game where everyone is locked into the hotel and there is no way out except in a body bag. Awesome.
Title card goes here.
Stream. Seriously, join the stream.
Yeah.
It's awesome.
Yeah.
But yeah, so let's get into some of our favorite shit about it. Do you want to start?
Yeah. Aside from the heavy hitters of like independent and recent horror, I want to talk about, we did this in the last episode as well, but I want to draw attention to it here because not only is the concept rock solid, but the usage of lighting in this movie to convey different elements of fear and different elements of like insecurity and shit like this is a master class in doing so. everybody in the world that I know has been down a hallway in a hotel room and felt uneasy.
Mhm.
So what happens when lights are flashing, turning off, turning different colors and that kind of thing, and fucking
The colors were so
and
cracked in
and
this.
David Howard Thornton is standing across from you in a fucking like purge mask, skipping towards you. You know, where are we at, right? I loved the atmosphere of this movie.
And he was definitely just playing uh Art the Clown essentially, because like none of the players actually make sound
Mm-hmm.
in this. Like it's all very
Silent but deadly.
so it is very like unsettling because you don't have any real interactions with a lot of these characters other than them like carving you up and
Mhm.
stuff. And I actually really want to give a shout out to player 3,
Mm-hmm.
who I will say are played by Liana Peraglia.
Mm-hmm. If you say so.
Peraglia. Um, but uh, there was so much of like the whimsical Art the Clown style murder for player 2 or player 2. So player 2 and player 3 are brother and sister. And honestly, like I don't even feel like that's a spoiler because immediately when you see them together, that chemistry is like they're either fucking or they're related.
Yeah.
And-
Both.
yeah.
We're in the mountains. Yeah.
The mountains of Philadelphia.
Right.
um but really like shout out to her because like that's a lot of physical acting on we've all seen art, we've all seen what David Howard Thornton can do, and it was crazy to see someone who had such a powerful dynamic to kind of
Mhm.
play off of that. Like you kind of forget about the fact that she's hot because she's
Yeah.
because she's just carving people up in this movie.
Exactly. And it's cool to see somebody do a Harley Quinn character
Mhm.
without being Harley Quinn.
Yeah.
Like to riff on those same ideas and elements without saying, oh, it's just Harley Quinn. No, it's not just Harley Quinn.
It's because everyone was silent.
Yeah, it's true. Mr. Thornton.
Mr. Thornton, which is actually hilarious because David has played the Joker before in a fan film. Uh, so, so she really could be like, "What's next, Mr. J?"
100%. I love the not so subtle like one of the things that happens in like the meta of this movie is the not so subtle nods to like internet streaming culture and that kind of thing. And I love that she's like clearly loosely based off like a Hatsune Miku kind of character, which is like
Sure.
just the poster child of like anime e-girl kind of thing. And like that's just her, all of these people are sort of dressed like in a way or like presented as people who stream, who do live streams of video games and that kind
They
of thing.
all own overalls.
And she's riffing off of that kind of thirst trap e-girl thing and bringing that to light in like a villain sort of way, which I find really interesting because that's not I love that when you're chugging that gallon it disappears in your background. so, so so nobody yeah, it looks like you're receiving a load from 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 regions beyond. But I agree. I feel like, and this is not a diss. This is just a personal preference, and I know you feel the same way, but I feel like player 3 was more underutilized.
I really did want to see more from player 3. And I don't know that that's like necessarily a fault of the writing. I just think if the movie's 2 hours long, I would have much rather like allocated time that you did to other plot points. I would have much rather just had more player 3 time.
I agree.
Have one more person in the hotel to just fucking kill for no reason, like
Exactly.
you don't have to introduce them. You just have to murder them. That's Indiegogo gold.
It's also kind of the whole fucking like spine of this movie. Like the whole like the whole premise is like constructed upon this idea of having like a relatively large amount of people to take out, right?
Yeah, exactly.
I wanted to like my favorite character in the movie was player 4 because I like that big juggernaut motherfucker
Mhm.
kind of idea. And the scene where he gets introduced is kind of like an arcade, like within the hotel and that kind of thing. We
Mhm.
have like, I guess he's a maintenance guy
And the
or
bartender,
and the bartender,
and he
and so
probably mops a lot.
and he probably also lives there.
And the mop.
Get the mop. And so there's a really cool scene. I don't know how detailed we're allowed to be. I also don't care. Where he's playing a like a side scroller, like 2D platformer shooter kind of,
Yeah.
arcade machine, whatever.
He's playing The Simpsons essentially.
Yeah. So Contra. Um, and so player 4 kind of appears in the if I'm not mistaken, it's actually player 1 that appears first, if I'm not mistaken.
In the back. Yeah.
So then it turns out that player 4 is also in the room with this guy, and there's a killing scene that I personally feel like was a missed opportunity based on how I interpreted what was going on here. But there's a great shot of him slamming a dude's head onto a joystick and the eyeball popping out and that kind of thing. And like there's a lot of drills in this movie, and that gets this comes into play, and
There's even a knife that's a drill at one point.
yeah, the dagger drill. But I love that big hulking motherfucker who establishes the intimidation factor, because you're aware, as you know, we're meeting the people that are in this game that are not the killers in this game, that none of them could possibly overpower this guy, right? And
Right.
so we have not our big bad,
The juggernaut,
but he's
bitch.
the one we're worried about the most, right? And I loved that whole exchange, because I love, like, there's there's a scene later on where there's a scuffle in a hotel room involving player 4, where like somebody like throws something at him and he just kind of like moves out of the way. Like, no,
Not because it even would have hurt him. He
Right,
just
just like,
didn't feel like letting it hit him.
right. And I just love that character archetype.
No, 100%. Since we're on the topic, I think my favorite was actually player 1.
Mm-hmm.
Because I don't know, it felt like you were saying, like all of them felt like streamers, but this one just felt like the incel that got let out of the basement.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And he's just like, now's my time to shine. And there was something about him for me that was just fucking menacing. And part of it was probably the cinematography and like the scenes that he was in. Like there's an incredible scene or cinematic idea where Wes Holloway's character and the dad, played by Roy Keenan, which was played by Charles Edwin Powell. They're trying to like get out because they don't know that like the doors do not open and all that kind of stuff. And there's this incredible shot where player 1 is standing in the background and you're watching from like the or what do you call those, SCCs, cameras, whatever the security camera.
Security.
Yeah. Um, is looking down on them, and you see player 1 standing behind one of the pillars next to a door,
Mm-hmm.
and he just kind of disappears behind the pillar. And then you just see his shadow go through the
Mm-hmm.
door. And I was like, oh, that was so good.
He is 100% the brains behind the muscle. So this is what I was going to tap into a second ago. I forgot to do this. It's not lost on the audience immediately that these killers are operating in teams.
Mhm.
So 1 and 4 are on a team, 2 and 3, like you said, brother and sister are on a team, and 1 is clearly the manipulator, and 4 is clearly the muscle, right?
Mhm.
He's the enforcer.
1 just wants to taste the fear a
And
little bit.
and I was going to ask it because it involves Danielle Harris. I wanted to know if you wanted to talk about that sequence
Oh my
between
God,
player 1
yes.
and Danielle Harris
So this is not the first time I've had an erection while Danielle Harris was on screen.
next to me.
No, it was so much fun. This is actually, keep going back and forth because there's 2 really amazing kills in this movie. I think this one's my favorite because the other one is very flashy,
Mhm.
and I like the concept. I really love how creative they got with it.
I'll take that one because yeah.
But I really think my favorite was so player 1. Also, guys, this is a huge spoiler, so
If you're still watching this and you care about spoilers, you don't care about spoilers.
yeah. So player one gets his way into Daniel Harris's hotel room, and because they have their first of all, they never told us what any of these people do, but they have fucking money. Because first of all, you're staying in a suite, which means you have two doors to go through. So player one sneaks into the suite, and Danielle Harris is, sitting there and reading her book with her legs crossed and
like the
being,
hottie she is. Yeah.
Oh man, talk scary to me.
I know.
And then you see the hand start to come up from over top from behind her on the chair,
killer shot,
and just fucking grabs her. And I do like that there was like a scuffle. Like I really like that, she I think the first thing she threw at him was like a fucking glass vase on the table or some shit, and like crashed through his face, and like he's like, oh, oh,
ow,
stop it. So they have like a pretty intense scuffle, which ends in one of my favorite kills, which is player one literally takes the knife out of his pocket and fucking just samurais that shit through the air and fucking hits her right in the spine. She drops to the ground. But what I didn't know that this dude had, which is where the erection comes in, is he had a fucking barbed wire garrote, and he just starts fucking sawing through her fucking
with
neck.
Barbed wire.
With barbed wire. And when Keenan's character comes back with Wes to the room, he's like holding her, and he's like, no, baby, don't do this to me. Don't fucking leave me. And her neck just kind of like,
he's making it worse. he's like trying to bring her back to life.
Come on, baby. Falls off.
Oh no.
Mommy.
Son, do not come in this room.
And it was so intense. It was so awesome. It was so awesome. I'm telling you, the barbed wire garrote is just like next level for me.
It's in my Amazon. It's in my Amazon cart.
So do you want to cover the other kill that was?
Yeah. So this is while we're getting Brains and Brawn working this tandem on this side, we've got like our classic like insane twins that they're on the same wavelength and that kind of thing. So there is a really strange party that's going on between two lesbians and a gay guy.
I just don't understand.
I don't know why he was there.
I don't know why that hotel room was there.
I don't know why any of this was out. They were playing loud music long into the night and making out with each other. And by that, I mean the lesbians were making out and the gay guy was like, I guess just there. I don't know. Maybe I don't know. Were they making porn or something? Was that like?
God, you're such whores.
I'm gonna lean into they were making porn.
He did not look like a cinematographer.
Yeah, well,
he's got like his iPhone in one of those fucking spheres.
Yeah. So the twins take these guys on, and there's an exchange. The weapon of choice here, if I'm not mistaken, it's been a couple of drunken nights since I've seen this movie. Was a hook thing, do you remember Vega from Street Fighter, where it's like a long extended blade but it hooks back around kind of thing? I don't know what that's called, but it was like Wolverine claws but Vega from Street Fighter.
No, you're talking about the X23 is what that was. Yeah.
Okay,
because I know what you're talking about.
Yeah, so that is used to decapitate somebody, and that happens later, but it's fine. The kill that I want to draw attention to is this guy gets nailed to the wall, and then the evil twins proceed to play tic-tac-toe on his body with a hunting knife.
And you watch the whole game.
The entire game. I'm not here for the strategy. I really disagree with a lot of the moves beyond the first. I think David Howard Thornton made a top tier play putting X in the center.
Yeah.
As the X player, I think that has to be your opener in any kind of like high level tic-tac-toe play. The circle to the corner was strange because that opens up turn 4 X wins, right?
Which is what happened.
Which is what happens. um, but the way that the actors and the characters were portraying this was like a lot of like, hmm, hmm, you know, and that shit is hysterical with the backdrop being this poor dude getting his fucking stomach ripped apart by this knife.
I would
And
say
it was
because
so,
while they're being
yeah,
silent,
yeah,
he is just
yeah.
screaming the
Yeah.
entire
Somebody's
time.
dead. One of the girls dies. Another one is trying to escape through the fucking kitchen window or whatever. And it's so funny to me because, again, it draws on that comparison to Joker and Harley. It draws that comparison between, any kind of like male female serial killer tandem you've ever seen in your entire life. And
Mhm.
it feels like home.
Coming home, coming
And I
home.
just really enjoyed that one from a creativity standpoint because that reeks of Art the Clown to
Oh
me.
yeah.
That's 100% something that he and like the dead girl would do, you know. Ghost girl, I can't remember her name technically speaking, but anyway.
Yeah, those were I think the top tier
Mhm.
kills. I'm still, like I said, I'm a big fan of just like the down and dirty, just fucking,
Mhm.
oh
Mhm.
god. There was just something about that one. Like I said, I really like the creativity of Tic Tac Toe. I thought
Mhm.
that was I don't think that that's ever been in a film before. And we saw actually what's really cool is if you go and see this in theaters, you actually do see a good amount of insight into how they built some of the kills,
Mhm.
which was really fucking cool. Like the drill in the brain and
Mhm.
the tic-tac-toe scene and like all of that shit. I mean, obviously they're not actually carving these people up,
100%.
but the way that they shot it, it looks so fucking good. It
And
looks so good.
and the mix of practical and special and digital effects and things like that, it
Mhm.
kind of we when they open the movie we see a brief commentary between the Levies, and they're talking about how they made this movie as horror fans for horror fans, and you really
Mhm.
do get that feeling. You're not trapped in a 2024 movie where everything is CGI'd,
Mhm.
everything is happening in post and that kind of shit, where a lot of this is practical. A lot
It's
of
not just
this
another Mia Goth movie.
yeah, everybody has eyebrows. um but there's a lot of beautiful moments, I think, from filmmaking standpoint, that you can see the love and the care that go into it.
Mhm.
And that's something that a lot of horror movies don't do anymore. A lot of horror movies are relying strictly on the digital and the CGI and that kind of thing. And just like you were talking about, like the scene we're alluding to is when one of the characters gets drilled through the head, and there was literally a prosthetic head on not a pike, but like on some kind of like stabilizing device where they could do this, and
Mhm.
that kind of thing. And then you see it in the movie, and the person's face is in the movie, and a lot of that is really interesting. Like for people like you and I who are like quote budding filmmakers, especially like in horror and shit like that, short film territory, it's nice to see how accessible a lot of that is to people like us.
Yeah, and it's cool to be able to see how they do it.
Hmm.
And it's just like, oh, so if I, take the camera, I do this and then make sure that this is the background and try to really replicate that. That's really cool for a
Yeah.
lot of people out there. And I think it's interesting just for people that don't do
Hmm.
that. I think that I know for myself, when we were talking to Anthony DeBlasi, one of the things that I really loved him talking about was, he got into filmmaking because of the special effects and how to build and all of that kind of stuff. And I don't think that I will ever personally be a special effects artist, but I find it fascinating. I think it's so insane. Like you talk to people like Derek Worley and about how they build this shit so that it looks like you're gutting somebody from the inside out. That is fucking crazy
Yeah.
to me. That's fucking crazy to me. And I think a lot of people that are going to these, especially these style films, when you have somebody like Damien Leone doing the practical effects for it, I think those people are inherently fascinated with that kind of stuff. I do think that Damien's kind of savoring some of the wild shit for Terrifier 3 though. I think that
This was the sample deck to the Commander Precon. This
yeah, well it's more so even just like a bridge because I mean like we talked about it earlier and it's not guys, if you're expecting this to be Terrifier 2, it's not gonna be.
Yeah.
You're gonna be disappointed. It's not, and that's fine. This is a different movie. This is a different concept. And again, the practical effects are awesome in it. Like one of my favorites, another one of my favorites in this film is the vending machine crush thing was
Sacre bleu.
sacre bleu.
Bunch of French guys got killed in this movie.
Yeah, I don't even really know
I
why.
did that for Theo Vaughn.
I don't even really know why they like came all the way to see some shitty band in America.
Because
from
it's the only
France.
band in America that makes decent music.
Oh, well, maybe they should go through France and
Yeah.
play there so
Yeah.
you can go see them.
Yeah, I want a French man to look me directly in the eyes and tell me that there's only one American band that they fuck with.
Who do you think it would be?
I don't know.
Green
I
Day?
I don't care. Yeah, I don't care because I know there's more than one.
Oh, I know. I'm saying
Yeah.
like from the French perspective, who it would be?
Probably like Skrillex. Like something electronic.
Kings of
and weird.
Leon.
No. Because the French are really into that like EDM shit before it was called EDM.
Oh god.
You know,
No wonder I haven't been to the catacombs
it's
yet.
like the concept of dubstep, I feel like would open a fucking gate for
Wah,
them.
wah, wah.
Yeah. It has the wub. The wub.
Drop the wall. I'm spinning now.
We have our sample for the Instagram test.
Blah blah blah.
Anyway, no, I agree. Fuck the French. He's drinking straight moonshine, if anybody was curious.
Gotta stay hydrated.
Mm-hmm. How much of the ending do you want to talk about? Do we want to save that up for people to go experience themselves, or do you want to go?
So
Yeah,
I think for me, and I think I can actually speak for you on this one as well. Like I don't think that was particularly surprising.
Yeah,
how the end went.
it was satisfying.
It was satisfying
because that's what you wanted from that moment.
Yeah, yeah. I will say I don't necessarily agree, and I don't want to turn this into a big debate. I just don't agree with a certain somebody being referred to as a final girl.
Okay. I know where you're going with this, because this certain somebody being referred to as a final girl is predicated upon the concept of them having won this fight.
That's just not the case.
And this person was absent for maybe a third to 40% of this movie, off doing this person's own thing with their new French hookup as a 16-year-old.
Flying like a cannonball.
Yeah.
Falling to the earth.
Exactly. And I agree, because there's an idea of a final girl where this person has been through the whole movie, waging war and fighting for ground on the mountain and losing their grip and climbing back up and falling back down and climbing back up again, and that doesn't happen.
Yeah, it doesn't feel incidental.
Doesn't feel won.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Who was your favorite cameo in this?
I can't remember the actor's name off the top of my head, but it's in the post-credit scene where we meet the real ringleader behind this whole thing.
Oh, are you talking about Tony Todd?
So
yeah.
So that was really cool to me.
The Candyman.
Seeing him doing his thing again after, just all this time, right?
Yeah, black don't crack.
Yeah.
He looks amazing.
He does look amazing.
He still looks like Candyman.
And and that's what I'm saying is, like, I really liked that he hasn't, like, let me rephrase. I really like that the character he's playing feels more intelligent than everybody else in the entire movie did. Because that's a level of sinister that you need your big bad to have.
Yeah, absolutely.
And if the intention, which if I'm not mistaken is the intention, to turn this thing into a franchise, that's a really cool way to introduce a character at the very, very tail end of a post-credit scene and let you know that, dude, it's not just Darth Vader. Sidious is a thing too, you know. So that's a shitty comparison, but you know what I'm saying.
No, absolutely. No, and I
It was great to see him again.
yeah, absolutely. Um,
Yourself.
I'm kind of torn. Because there are two people that I absolutely love.
Mhm.
Obviously, I could talk about Danielle Harris and her career forever. Um, but with that put to the side of my own biases, I loved Bill Moseley being in this. Because his post credit scene was so funny because it goes along with like you're talking about like making the franchise.
Mhm.
Because we find out at the beginning of this movie, this is not the first time that this has happened. I think they said it happened in an apartment complex before this. Then they were talking about doing it in a hospital towards the end of the movie. This is something that's supposed to grow and keep. And the creepiest thing of this entire movie, actually, while we're talking about it, is uh all of the people that were just sitting around and watching it.
Mm-hmm.
That's so dark.
At parties and shit.
Yeah, people were having watch parties of this shit.
There's an obscure movie. I don't think you've seen it, but it has Samuel L. Jackson as kind of the ringleader character in it. It's called Arena.
I haven't seen it.
Where they have people engage in like one-on-one fights that are themed behind, okay, this is going to be gladiator, this is going to be like Aztec, this is going to be medieval and that kind of thing. But the people can bet on it from a, you know, live stream on their computers and that kind of thing. And, you know, it kind of has a, what was that History Channel show where it was like, would pirates or ninjas actually win in a fight?
Deadliest Warrior.
Deadliest Warrior. It has that kind of vibe to it, but it's set in a semi.
But people actually die.
People actually die. It's like war veterans and, you know, criminals and that kind of thing, and they just pull whoever they can. But that's what it reminded me of, that same concept, and that's what's so harrowing about that movie is that you get the sense that the general public may not necessarily believe that this is real, and yet they're entertained by it. So the human element gets questioned there, right?
Right. No, I like that. I like that. And that's not the first time I've seen films like that. I mean, there's a wide variety. I'm not going to name all of them. One with actually not Bill Skarsgård, but one of the other Skarsgårds. Was it
Eric?
I think it was Eric Skarsgård, actually.
Yeah.
I just started naming off Skarsgårds.
Scandinavian names. Piotr.
Yeah, Pewter. No, and there's like, I will say there are a handful of things that we're not covering today because we don't want to spoil some of the plot points for those of you who haven't seen it yet. But there is a lot of fun in it. There are some scenes where you're like, because Eric and I looked at each other at one point. I was like, why the fuck is that happening? Like, shoot it. Shoot it. Shoot the J. Shoot it. But if you have a chance to see Stream, I 100% recommend it.
And it's in a, if I'm not mistaken, a limited release right now in certain theaters. So you'll have to check the Instagram page, the website, and that kind of thing for Stream to find out where it's streaming, or not streaming, where it's playing at.
You can actually just Google Stream franchise and it will pull up in Google. It will tell you where you can go to go watch it. Also, I will say my only gripe with it is that it is 2 hours long.
It's 2 hours and 10 minutes long.
It is, yeah, but I think the 10 minutes is like extras. I think it's a solid 2 hours.
It's a body of work. Yeah. That's a semantics game at the end of the day.
Yeah, absolutely. But
it does not need to be 2 hours. When you see it, you'll know what we mean.
Yeah, I guess other than like Nolan movies, because Nolan movies, I just get lost. I actually didn't realize that the Batman movies were so fucking long until recently,
which surprises me.
It
doesn't, but it does.
I literally had no idea that most of those movies are like 2 hours and 20 minutes long. I never noticed.
It's real.
Anything else you want to say about Stream?
No, it's a good movie. I think you nailed it when you said it's not going to be like Terrifier levels. This felt more like a an opportunity for these guys to get together and work on an idea that whoever had and make something cool out of it and put it out there. And if people enjoy it, they enjoy it. And if not, hey, we got Terrifier 3 coming out, so no big deal, right? Like, not that it was a throwaway idea, but it kind of hits like one of those like track 8 on the record, you know,
Yeah.
and points where it's like it's there. If you like this song, that's awesome.
Mm-hmm.
There's 4 other singles though, you know. So anyway, that's what I would say about it. It's absolutely worth a watch. I mean, we talk about the length and everything, but like, I mean, if you love horror movies, you'll enjoy it. If you don't love horror movies, I don't know why you're listening to us. So
Yeah. Because we're not funny.
yeah,
Unlike your mom.
yeah, she's super funny. Oh, your mom's so funny.
Oh my God, you're gonna make me laugh. Oh. Oh God. Thank you guys for joining us once again. We're at Creeks, it cracks, and we laugh at the creatures that go bump in the night. Skanks.